Now let's talk about Venn diagrams. So Venn diagrams is a way we can start to show a relationship between different sets of data. Now Venn diagrams, we commonly look at circles, and we're really looking at overlapping things that occur. Now not everything has to overlap. So if I wanted to make a diagram of my class of the male students and the female students, I would see and count all of the male students that I have in the class, and let's say I had 15, and I had all the females in the class, let's say I have 14, and that would represent the number that I have. So all those accounted for would be put there. Maybe I want to look at the grade of my students. If I'm looking at the grade of my students, I could say, well, here are the 9th graders, 10th graders, separate students. You're not going to be both of them. We're not going to have the overlap. Now maybe I draw a circle for the 11th graders, or the 11th could also be all of those that didn't fit in the 9th and 10th. And that could actually also be 12th graders, or if I had an 8th grader in class as well, some overlap that I look at. But really when they're separate, that doesn't do a whole lot for us. What we want to start to look at is when they actually overlap. So let's say students that had A's in math and English last year. So this is going to be your A in math class. This is going to be your A in English class. Now, a student could get an A in math class and be in this circle. A student could get an A in English class and be in this circle, but we don't want them to be double counted and be separate. That's where that overlap goes. This is where you have the math and English. So that is where that overlap occurs, and then we're going to have them there. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have a value on the outside. The value on the outside is a student that did not have an A in either math or English. Now, we start to fill in values, and the Venn diagrams start to be a little easier to put together. So let's think about this. We'd say I'm looking at 30 students in my class. And I took a poll of them, and I know that 11 of them are going to play a fall sport. I know that 6 play a winter sport. And I know 14 of them play no sport at all. So the circles that I'm going to look at in this Venn diagram is I'm going to have one be the fall sports. I'm going to have one be the winter sports. So fall and winter. Now, first thing we should notice, if I added the number of fall, winter, and no sport at all, it comes out to be 31. And that's a problem because we only have 30 students. So we can't actually have a count for more than it is. Now that should bring up the idea that we should have some overlap to account for here. Now, the no sport at all, let's take care of that one first. That one's going to go on the outside. They don't go in either of the circles, so we're not going to count them. Now, this leaves us with 16 we have to put in here. So if I went, okay, fall sports, I have to have 11 within these two regions, and added to this needs to be 16. So this is 11, and then the winter sports that are not fall, to add to that, give me 5 to get to the 16. And this is accounting for that 11. We don't know if they could do both. They could, and that's entirely possible. So this is 11. Now, winter sports, I know this whole circle is 6. If that whole circle is 6, plus the amount of fall sports added to 14 needs to get me to 30. So 6 plus 14 is 20. That leaves me with 10. So what's the overlap? Well, 10, 5, and 14 leave me with 1 left over, so that 1 is the overlap. I can check. I have 11 fall sports. I have 6 winter sports, 14 no sports at all, and that adds to my 30 students. Now, let's think of another one. Let's say we're now looking at traveling. So we have students that have traveled. Let's say our students either went to Hawaii, New York. Now, 12 of the students have been to Hawaii. We have 6 of the students have been to Hawaii and New York. And then 14 have been to just New York. Now, in the last one, we kind of looked at that no sport at all, or the one outside the circles as one to start with. And that's a good approach to take. Now, the issue here is we don't know the total of all of them. We also don't know what the outside value is, what's outside the circles. So we can't really start there. So the other recommendation I would have would be to start at the overlap. I know 6 is the overlap there. Now, 6 have been to both. So I need 12 total for Hawaii. So 6 plus 6 give me 12. And then for New York, I need 14, and 6 plus 8 give me 14. So then I can start to fill those values in. I don't know how many didn't go. We're going to assume that in this case, everyone has gone to at least one of those. So that means we're actually looking at 20 total.